All right. Happy Friday, everybody. Appreciate you hopping on. And thank you, Dan, for hopping on too and sharing your wisdom that you share with your coaching clients. So, Dan is a former KW agent and also KW coach, correct? And team
Yeah.
leader.
Team leader. Yeah.
And yep, and now resides in Florida and has his own coaching company. And I met him on a couple other coaching calls in the past, and he's been graciously said yes multiple times to hop on to share his wisdom with agents that we work with. So appreciate your time, Dan, and I'll let you take it over and finish your introduction if you like.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, as Tom said, I'm here in South Florida, Palm Beach County, which is Southeast Florida. Um, uh, Been in real estate my whole life, been South Florida native. Um, but had a real estate team. We were MREA we've got a couple of KW people on here, millionaire real estate agent team. We did over a million GCI in 2022. Um, and I was like Keller Williams team leader. I ran our local market center here, recruited over 300 agents to join us over a 3-year period, and got all the recognition, all the awards. And I used to travel nationally and teach for KW. But I always had a, a, a challenge, which was I travel all around and I teach agents, which is my favorite thing to do. It's why I built the team. It's why I ran the office. And I teach agents what to do, and they would say to me, I'm going to go do that. And I'd be so excited. We've solved the problem, right? And then I'd follow up with them 60, 90 days later, and I'd say, how's it going? And they'd say, I didn't do it, right? And that would drive me absolutely nuts. And so 3 years ago, I stepped down from all of my leadership roles to focus on coaching agents individually to solve that problem. How do we get people in our industry to do the things they know will help them generate business? And so my coaching program is based on that. Like I said, we are coaching about 80 agents between one-on-one and a group coaching program, uh, 8 different states, every brokerage you could name, from relatively new agent to my top producing agent that I coach is doing 130 million of sales this year. Um, so a real wide range. Because of that, I get to cover a bunch of different topics. So some of them are more tactical, some of them are more mindset based. But this time of year, I find it helpful, you know, for meetings like this to kind of go over what are the basics, right? What are the few things we need to get right, mindset wise and in our business, to make things better next year, go wherever you want to go. And this is a sort of short presentation. Again, with the hope being one, that you guys interrupt me a lot, ask a lot of questions, and two, that at the end we have some time for discussion because it's way more fun when I can help solve some specific problems. So, with that, I'm going to jump into this presentation so we can get moved. So, I call this one the 5 rules for a predictable pipeline. The first thing here is um, my community is called the predictable pipeline community because most agents actually want predictability in their business, right? Of course, it's nice to say I want to make $1 million, but most people would just like stable business and income, right? Get off the roller coaster that we all know and love, or know and hate rather, and just have a nice business where you're getting 2, 3 deals a month, real solid game plan. You know what you need to do on a weekly basis. You have the satisfaction of having completed it, and you get the results of that work. So here's 5 things that I think are key to having that in your business. If you felt like you've been on the roller coaster over the past year, or you're unsure how you're going to get where you want to go next year, I think we'll probably touch on something that's going to help you here. All right. So again, here's my promise. If you master these 5 things, you're going to have more consistency, more sanity, and more deals. All right. Rule number 1, fish where the fish are. Okay. This is not uh, take my word for it. This is National Association of Realtor data. 66% of sellers, 57% of buyers found their agent through someone they knew or were referred by, meaning sphere of influence. Either they knew the real estate agent or someone they knew knew the real estate agent and referred them. So your database is your number one source of business, for better or for worse, right? But this is a fact. Once you go past sphere of influence database marketing, you fall down to single digits. So when we talk about open houses, online leads, websites, expireds, phone, circle prospecting, phone calls, you're fighting for the scraps at that point, right? Um, so you have to know it's all about your database. You have to have a solid database marketing plan that keeps you in frequent contact, right? My plan that I teach is 72 touches per year, right? Um, and we can go into detail on that at the end if anybody's interested. Let me tackle some of the most common objections when it comes to this, right? I don't have a sphere of influence, right? That's nonsense. Okay. Everyone, open your phone. If you were thinking, well, I don't have a sphere of influence, open your phone, go in your contacts, and look at how many people are saved in your contacts. I guarantee you it will be a few hundred. The second objection I usually get is um, I relocated my sphere of influence to somewhere else, right? That's a great one that I usually get, to which I like to remind people that they're probably not the first person that relocated, and they probably won't be the last, right? So your sphere of influence, wherever they may be, are the people who know, like, and trust you and are the most likely to support you and refer business to you and make connections. And then the third one that I get when it comes to database is my sphere is not going to buy or sell, or they're not interested, right? Which may be true. However, you don't know who's in their sphere, right? And so this data tells us that not only are they likely to use you, but they're going to refer you to someone. And so you don't know who they know, who they could refer you to. So rule number one, get your database marketing in place. If you want a more predictable, successful business next year, you need to have your database in a CRM, organized, and have a plan that's going to take you through contacting them across email, text, calls, social media, on a consistent basis. All right, there's rule number one. Again, you guys could throw questions in the chat, or save them for the end and we can have some discussion. All right, so fish where the fish are. All right, rule number two, you've got to have three systems. Okay. Every business, every real estate agent that I know and have interviewed who has a successful and stable business has three things going on. I think it's hard to have more than three, but some people can do it. But I don't know anybody who has the stability they want in their business that has less than three. So here's how the three break down. First one, we already talked about database marketing. Once you've met someone, do you have a system to stay top of mind with them throughout the year, right? And earn all those referrals. Second one is active lead generation. You need to have one of what I call like all the old school real estate lead generation strategies, even though they're not as good as database, right? Open houses, door knocking, circle prospecting, for sale by owner, expireds, right? The active lead generation is things you trade time for leads, right? You have to go physically do the open house. You have to pick up the phone and make the phone calls. You have to send the postcards out, right? The reason you need an active lead generation strategy is when your database, right, is the timing issue. Your database should be generating business for you. However, it's not going to do it consistently throughout the year necessarily. So when you have a slow month, right, you can put more time into your active lead generation, and active lead gen is generally time for leads. The more time you spend, the more leads you get. So you've got to have one of those, right? I don't care which one, whichever one fits your fancy. If you like open houses, great. If you like expired, it's fantastic. If you want to go to networking events, right? If you want to work agent to agent referrals, we can get into lots of ideas. You got to have something where you can apply more time to get more leads. And then the last one is a passive lead generation. This is all the new stuff. This is online leads. This is social media. This is Facebook Marketplace, YouTube channels, all this kind of stuff. The purpose it serves is to have leads coming in when you're busy, right? So what naturally happens is that roller coaster, right? You have no business. You apply yourself to active lead generation. Now you have clients. You focus all of your energy on servicing them. You stop doing the activity that got you those clients, right? They close. Now we have no leads again. That's the roller coaster. We all know what that looks like. When you have all three of these happening, your database is nurturing relationships and spitting out opportunity on a regular basis. When you're slow, you apply yourself more to active lead generation, right? And get more leads. When you're busy servicing clients and you can do less active, your passive keeps things coming in, right? So, so having one source of leads and one strategy across each of these is your key. If you're missing one in your business, you're missing opportunity. If you've got more than these, you probably need to audit how effective you are at executing them. All right. So that's rule number two. Get your three systems in place. All right. Rule number three. This one's a personal time management. Something called Parkinson's Law, which says work will expand to fill the time you allow for it, right? So what does that mean? It means if you give yourself all day to make your database calls, it will take all day. If it gets done even at all. If you give yourself 45 minutes to do it, you'll do it. One of the things I work with on with my coaching clients is creating this compression, right? You can, if you're tasked for the day, the best thing you could do today is send 100 DMs on Facebook Messenger to people, to your friends list. I have seen it take agents half the day, and I've seen people knock it out in 30 minutes, right? It's how efficient do you want to be? Now, here's how you can leverage this in your own world. Hold on one second here. I've got something I keep, this is called a time timer. Not sponsored by them. But it makes this, it's just a clock and it's got this cool little red wheel. So you want to work on something for 30 minutes, you set it there, and that red starts disappearing. So these are all just little hacks that essentially force you to focus and apply yourself more diligently in less time, right? This is one to just be aware of. The most successful agents that I work with who have stable, predictable businesses that they enjoy are good at working really hard for a short period of time, getting something done, and then they back off from it, right? They rarely are the people who you think are putting in more and more hours, right? They're very good at focusing their efforts and getting things done really quickly. So that's Parkinson's law. Look for opportunities to apply that one, right? Rule number four that goes with that I'm really big on, is called win the week. Here's the thing in our business. You can lose some days. Life happens. You go out to the driveway, car's got a flat tire, right? Kids get sick, right? You're just not feeling it. We all know that feeling, right? You can lose some days. You can't lose that many weeks, though, right? Where the rubber really meets the road for real estate agents who are struggling is when you let too many weeks go by without building momentum, pouring back into your business. Monday and Tuesday, train got off the tracks, we can recover from that, right? So I focus on win the week because weekly consistency is a way better predictor in my mind of success than that daily consistency. So I don't teach time blocking in the traditional sense. I'm not a 9 to 11, Monday through Friday, you need to be on the phone kind of person. The reason is I don't know anybody who does it, right? The ones who do, I question their honesty about it, right? You can do it for short periods of time. We've all buckled down. I know in my life I can really grind it out when I have to, but not for a whole year, right? So what ends up being far more successful over the course of a year is that you get really clear on a finite set of tasks. So instead of saying, I'm going to lead generate 2 hours a day, Monday through Friday, say, I'm going to make 500 calls. When 500 is done, you've won. You might do 500 on Monday. You might do 100 a day, Monday through Friday, or you may lump it around. But this fits in with the last one, right? Because if your plan was, I'm going to do 200, 250 on Monday and 250 on Wednesday, and Monday, your kid's sick, you still have to do 500. Now, it doesn't mean that the whole week is lost, right? When you tell yourself, I'm going to lead generate for 2 hours Monday through Friday, and Monday goes wrong, well, I already screwed up. I might as well take the rest of the week off. We've all had that internal dialogue. But when you say, I just got to get my 500 calls done, right? Now we can still save the week. We could miss Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday and still get that done before the end of the week, right? So set clear, finite tasks. When it comes to working your database, I teach my agents the system where we break their database up into 12 groups. We call one group every week. When you've done that group, you're done. Some weeks it takes you 1 hour, some weeks it takes you 3 hours. But once it's complete, it's complete. And when you have that clarity across those three lead generation strategies of exactly what you need to do to win the week, you get a really, really cool thing that I think most agents deny themselves, which is a sense of completion and satisfaction. You're all entitled to tell your significant other or whoever you talk to about your work week, I had a good day. I had a good week, right? We don't have to live, contrary to popular belief, on social media. We don't have to live in a world where you constantly beat yourself up because you didn't do enough for your business. Other people check out. Now, we're entrepreneurs. You don't ever get to truly check out and punch off the clock. But you are entitled to be able to say, I did what I meant to do this week and what I know will move my business forward. I completed those check boxes and I'm satisfied with that work. Okay, so this is really key. Set clear and finite tasks for the week, complete them, and move on with your life. Any questions on that one? It can be one where I usually get some pushback. All right, good. All right. Rule number 5. When in doubt, text or DM 20 people, right? Again, part of being a solopreneur is being on an island. It can be very lonely. It can feel like I can't get unstuck, right? You open your email inbox, there's 300 emails in there. You're not sure if you want to cry or respond to some of them or delete all of them and pretend that email doesn't exist. We've all been there, right? You can apply yourself to some kind of lead generation strategy and just go, this is just not working. It's frustrating. That's part of our business. So the key is, what do you do when that moment comes that you feel stuck, right? You have doubts about whether this is going to work. You're unsure where your next deal is coming from. When in doubt, take immediate action, right? If you're overthinking something, you're behind, just start, right? And we live in this amazing world where we have this thing. Everyone's got one of these, right? It is socially acceptable to send someone a direct message at any time of day, right? There is truly you can send people DMs at 2 o'clock in the morning. No one cares. They'll get to them when they wake up. And you can't call them, right? We used to live in a world where there were normal business hours. It was completely inappropriate for you to call someone before 9 or after 5. And then we got text messages, right? And that sort of slipped. Well, you could text someone a little bit earlier. Maybe you text someone as early as 7:38, right? And you text them a little bit later. You go to 6:30. A text message was less intrusive than a phone call was, obviously. So we got a little lax. And social media messaging came along. It's no more rules. It's 24 hours a day. I will tell you, it's also a fun thing if you've never experimented with that. You'll DM someone at 1 o'clock in the morning, they'll DM you back. They're also up on their phone, scrolling endlessly, trying to go to sleep, right? Uh, but for the people who aren't awake, they don't get notified. They don't know till the next morning and they don't care, right? So take advantage of that. Your next deal is in that device. Everyone's got a deal in here, right? The question is, can you take the time and put the effort in to message them? Between the hundreds of friends you have on your Facebook friends list and the hundreds of contacts you have saved in your phone, there's a deal in there, there's a referral in there. So when you're stuck, you have to remind yourself, let me just take some action and get unstuck. That is the simplest way to get things going. Okay. And then I always end with this one. Then we can open up for some discussion, and we've got some great time to talk about some cool December stuff. None of these are complicated, but you have to do them. The number one factor that I find with agents who are the most successful versus the ones who are struggling is consistency of execution, right? The top performers chip away a little bit at a time at their plan, right? And they're way less susceptible to these violent swings of energy and effort. Um, I'll take slow, consistent effort every time over amazing talent. You may not be super comfortable on the phone. You might think, well, I'm not the best email writer. But 52 mediocre emails beat 12 good ones every time. Right? And we all can take action with that. One of my favorite things there. All right. So give me some feedback. What did you need to hear there? What's your takeaway?
Uh, for me, I'm my biggest own critic. Where if I always look at each day as its own separate component, where I need to probably spread that out over the whole week. Where I beat myself up at the end of the day if I don't get certain contacts or calls in each day. But it's a great idea to spread over the horizon, make a goal on a weekly versus a daily, so you don't beat yourself up so much.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the things I suggest that. So in my group, we do two coaching calls a week. We do a Monday call where we go over the game plan, and then we do a Thursday morning call, which is the accountability check-in, right? Now, you may, there's lots of ways you can implement this in your own life. You might find someone else on this call that you could partner up with. You might bother Tom twice a week. I'm sure he'd be okay with it. You might just put a little group together in your office, or you might do it with your significant other. Doesn't really matter. But there's magic to Monday, Thursday, right? Monday, we're all starting the week to take a moment and say, this is what it takes for me to win the week, and outline that. And then the magic of Thursday morning, and again, this could be with anyone. You could call Tom and you could go, Tom, on Monday, I said I was going to call 100 people out of my database, send my email, and DM 50 strangers on Instagram. And I sent my email and I sent my DMs, but I didn't call my people yet. So it's Thursday morning. I'm going to get that done between now and Friday at 5. Right? That Thursday morning check-in is critical, more important than anything else, because Thursday morning still gives you time to finish the week strong. On Thursday morning, we can fix and achieve our goals. If we wait until the next Monday, we're a week behind. Right? So that Thursday morning meeting, whether you do it with yourself, whether you do it with talk to Chat GPT, you call Tom, pick someone else in your office, doesn't matter, but have that Thursday morning check-in. That one's critical. And again, part of that too is rhythm. Again, for my agents, there is a direct correlation between the number of them that get on the Thursday calls and their success, because it's this cadence of accountability. You get into a rhythm. The first week won't happen, but you do it for 4 or 5 weeks. Now you get this rhythm of, I know every Thursday I'm going to be checking in on what I set out to do, right? And that cadence is the key component there. What else? What are some other helpful bits there?
You can feel free to throw them in the chat, guys, too, if you want.
Yeah.
But Dan, one question: do you have like a ritual, like a Sunday ritual that you teach to your clients, like maybe to look the week forward, but also the last 2 weeks back on what how to plan and prepare your week?
Yeah, I don't have one that I necessarily teach. I think that's, a lot of people use that Monday, and I don't think that's necessarily wrong either, right? I'm a big proponent of downtime and family time, and I try to keep a lot of that weekend cleared out for that and clearing the mind space. But for me personally, I do like to take some time on Sunday afternoon, look back over the past week, what went well, what didn't. No formal guideline around that, just sort of taking some mental notes. I'm also a big paper note taker. So I flip back through, I use these little pocket field note things, and I'll flip back through the week and see what did I miss? What did I write down that I wanted to research or, sort of get myself organized there. And then I will look forward through that week and just make sure I know what are those goals and where do they fit. Because like I said, when you give yourself that flexibility that you don't have to lockstep go into a time blocking arrangement, now you have some flexibility there. So I'll look at it and go, today is actually a early release day for my kids from school. They just walked in the door a few minutes ago. The rest of the afternoon, I'm not doing anything. This is my last call for the day. So when we have weeks like that, I'll adjust and go, okay, the things I need to do need to get done by Thursday, right? If I've got something else on the calendar, I'm going to go teach, in person in an office or something. I just sort of look at that calendar. Okay, when are my weekly goals going to fit in there? Do I need to be more intentional on some days than others, or do I have more flexibility in the week? But I wouldn't say it's an overly routine, and I think just having that basic sort of time to look at the lay of the land is definitely key wherever you can fit that in.
Hey Dan, thanks for all the helpful information. You mentioned something about groups, calling people or grouping your contacts in order to and I sometimes just get overwhelmed. I've been in the business for a long time and have quite a large database, but end up shying away from it because it just seems so daunting.
Yeah,
How do you group those people?
absolutely. Let me pull this up for you. So this is something that um I took from hold on 1 second. I'll just pull this presentation up from Keller Williams. So if we got any Keller Williams people on here, Keller Williams is gonna know this by a name. It's a terrible name. It's one of the best things Keller Williams has. They have given it a terrible name. They call it the DTD2 system. If you're not from Keller Williams, that means absolutely nothing to you, as it should. So here's what it really means. It's a very cool thing. Basically, someone figured out that there's an uneven distribution of last names, meaning there's a lot of people with like A last names, right? And very few people with W last names. And that applies for all 26 letters of the alphabet. Uh, when I fully bought into this was when I actually realized that there is good data behind it. The US Census actually tracks this. And so you could type this into ChatGPT and fact check it. Um, but basically, there's such an uneven distribution of last names based on what letter they start with that you can take the 26 letters of the alphabet, you put them into 13 pairs, and you basically will even out anyone's database to be roughly the same in number of contacts every week based on the first letter of their last name. So I'm going to show you what this looks like. Um, this is from an older presentation, but it's all good. Okay. So you take your database, you sort by last name, A to Z, and then you put one of these 13 tags on every contact based on the first letter of their last name. So all the A last names and all the W last names get the A and W tag. All the B last names and E last names, and so on and so forth, right? So you go your entire database with this system based on the first letter of their last name. Whenever you add anyone to your database, you put the applicable tag onto it. What this then lets us do, we take the 13 combinations, we cram them into 12 weeks, right? Because I and Q, Y and Z here at the end, very, very few last names altogether. And then we run a schedule. So we do uh, it's 13 tags in 12 weeks. Every quarter, we go all the way through the entire database. So this gives you a couple really cool benefits. One is this gets you away from um, task task lists and task generated things. So if you use a CRM, one of the most common failure points I see is someone goes, I'm going to put them on this quarterly call plan, right? And then you're all of a sudden you open up your CRM one day and there's like 180 to-dos, right? And then you go, oh, I'm never going to do that. Just forget it. and you're completely overwhelmed, right? So what is great about this is we follow a schedule. Every week has a tag. You should contact the people who have that tag. Again, to Tom's previous question, you could sit down on Sunday and go, okay, how many people do I need to contact? Right? It's a finite number, right, for the week. And you can figure out where it fits in your calendar. And if you miss a week, that's okay. We just pick up the next week. If you want to fit it in and catch up, great. If not, we can be confident that we're going to loop back around the next quarter to catch those people again a second time. So I teach this. Um, it's the best system I've found because it doesn't create all these tasks that bog you down. It's sort of an ongoing flow. You work through it, and it really does break your database into 12 about equal groups. So I use this with people with the average database is probably like 500, 600 people, and I have agents who have thousands, 5,000, like 6,000 is like one of the top agents I have, and he uses the exact same system. That makes sense? Oh, okay. Perfect.
Thanks,
Great.
Dan. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Any other questions on that? All right. Here's what I want to do with a little extra time. I'm going to give you some December. I'm going to jump around a little bit on this. While I'm loading this up, what I would love to do is, oh, Tom, all right, I'm going to come to your question. I want to tell you guys this Monday, here's what I'm going to do, actually. Let me do this. I'm going to put my cell phone in here. You guys can text me your email address. Because I'm setting up the registration page. On Monday at 11 o'clock, my group coaching call. I'm teaching something called All I Want for Christmas is Reviews, which is going to be if you want client reviews, you want to bulk up your Google business page or your Zillow profile with a bunch of reviews, I'm giving away email templates, social media templates, a whole marketing plan to get a bunch of reviews at the end of the year. We did this last year and had a lot of great results with it. I'm going to, um, I'm actually going to charge for it for people who aren't in my coaching program, but as a gift from Tom and I for you guys being here today, if you send me your email, I will send you back a registration code so you don't have to pay for it. So you guys could join me Monday at 11 and learn how to get some reviews there. Here, and then I'm going to jump into some December stuff. Tom said thoughts on grading your database. Um, I don't grade. It's a great question. I don't grade my database, but I grade leads. So obviously there's some overlap there, meaning on a whole, my database is all treated exactly the same. Once someone expresses any kind of interest in transacting, buying or selling, then we're going to give them an A, B, or C rating, right? So A being hot, weekly follow-up, B lukewarm, right? Bi-weekly or monthly, and then C being, they've fallen off essentially. They've worked their way down and we're unsure where they are on the timeline. We know they raised their hand, but clearly they're not that motivated. And so that will guide additional contacts above and beyond the 72 we're doing at a base level for those people who express more interest. Tom, 11 a.m. Eastern time. Yeah, great question on that. All right. Let me jump in to this class I taught on Monday. I'm not going to do the whole thing, but I want to give you guys a couple things just to get you motivated for the next 4 weeks. Okay? I called this one a December to be remembered. What's a December to remember? Where have you heard that one before? No one's Anyone's heard of December to Remember? I'm worried about what's happening in Wisconsin right now. December to Remember is a Lexus slogan. And anyone ever seen Lexus commercial? A December to Remember? Yeah, all right. We're getting there. Here's the point why I make the terrible joke. December is a super powerful month, right? It is an emotionally charged month. Billions of dollars are spent on advertising by Lexus and many other companies to try to get you to spend your money and to get you in the sentimental mood, right? And then you got nostalgia. Everyone watches their favorite Christmas movie, your family traditions, you're traveling, you're together. The whole society is primed for sentiment and connection, giving everything you do this month greater impact. Okay. And I'm not going to go too deep on this, but the psychology around year-end marketing and communication is actually really interesting. But the most important thing to know is this. I'm going to go into all three of these, but if you've completely ignored your database all year long, contacting them in the next 3 weeks will make up for it, right? That's how important December year-end marketing is. People are going to remember what you did this month more than they're going to remember anything else. You can completely make up for neglect in your communications and relationship building. And people are going to respond in kind because December is the only month where being kind and being thankful and being helpful is expected of us. In 25 days, when that calendar hits January 1st, it's new year, new you. It's not new year, new us, right? New year, new you. Everyone right now, family, tradition, holiday, get together, the spirit of the season, January 1st, what am I getting? Right? That's just the way it goes. So anything you do right now is going to be better received than it will be in January, and it's going to have a bigger impact. So if we know that, what are we going to do? Now, I have 5 strategies here. I'm going to take you guys through just a couple really key ones because I just want you to have the tactical, like, Dan, I need to take action right now. I need to line up. I got nothing lined up for January. How do I fix my pipeline? Okay. First one I'm going to tell you is context switching. Okay. This is an easy way to refresh a lot of relationships, especially ones you've ignored. Here's what you do. Over the next 4 weeks, everyone's going to post more on social media than they have all year long, right? And what you're going to do when you're scrolling through Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or whatever your favorite platform is, you're going to do something I call context switching, which means when you see Tom post a picture from the holidays, he goes to his favorite Christmas tree lighting and takes a cute picture of his kids standing in front of the Christmas tree. Instead of putting a heart on the post, you're going to shoot him a text and go, "Oh my God, I love that Christmas tree. That picture was so adorable." Right? When you get an email marketing message from somebody, you're going to pick up the phone and call them and go, "Oh, I read your email. I love that part you said about this, or that house, that product you have, or whatever, looks really great." Right? Your local business owner that posts something about their holiday specials, you shoot them a text, you send them an audio message. The context switching of taking something you learned from social media or email marketing and then reaching out to them in a different format makes it personal, right? If you're like number 55 or comment number 10, it's not nearly as relevant as if you're call number 1, right? And so context switching is such an easy way. What it says is I'm not performing on social media. I'm having a personal interaction with you, right? It says you're important to me. We're going to take this offline, right? Everyone's going to like Tom's picture. He's not going to be able to name a single person to put a heart on it. But if one person calls him, he's going to remember that person for the rest of December, right? So context switching is a layup. You're going to get all this marketing messaging. Everyone's going to post on social media. Take the conversation to a different venue. Doesn't matter which one, whatever you're most comfortable with how you switch doesn't matter. Just the fact that you switched is going to deliver all the impact. Okay. So context switching is an easy way to get through a bunch of people. This one's also really interesting as far as maybe you got some people who are interested in things or people you want to connect with or leads. This is something called the Zieglernick effect. So this uh, identified by an amazing woman, Bluma Zieglernick, in 1935, and she had this really interesting experience. She was a academic in psychology, um, and she was having a conversation with a waiter. And what she found fascinating was he could remember every single item that someone ordered at a table if their bill was still unpaid. But the second they paid the bill, he couldn't remember any of it. Right? So he could be managing 4 or 5 tables, right? And know who ordered the martinis and who got the steak and who got the salad, right? And the second that bill was paid, his memory was wiped clean. And so she did all these experiments on this. And what she identified was that if something is unfinished, our brains have a part that hyperfixates on it, right? It's unforgettable. As soon as the loop gets closed, we wipe that short-term memory clean. Now, how can you use that, right? You can create now a bunch of open loops with people you want to get in touch with because we have this amazing excuse of the holidays being in the way, right? Now, if I said, Sam, let's grab coffee next week, you're probably going to say, I'm busy. I got a bunch of stuff going on. But if I say, Sam, I know we got a lot going on, but let's grab coffee after the holidays. For the next 3 weeks, in some small part in the back of your brain, you're gonna be going, "Oh, I gotta grab that coffee with Dan. Oh, when am I gonna get that on the calendar?" Right? And every time you're gonna go through and do all your lists, you're gonna go, "Oh, I know we gotta make that plan." Right? This is psychology. This is human psychology. It's the way our brains work. So leverage it to your advantage. You want to meet with someone, you want to network with a new relationship, you've got someone that you know they've opened all your emails for the past 3 months, you know they're thinking about doing something, but you haven't had that conversation. Somebody you met at a networking event that said, "Oh, we're thinking about buying an investment property," right? Shoot them the message. Let's get together after the holidays, right? It's going to create this open loop. You're planting a seed now that you get to harvest in January. It's really, really key. And again, it's special right now just because you're waving off the objection of saying, "Well, I'm too busy," by saying after the holidays. You're leveraging that focal point. All right. The other one I'm going to do here is what I call year-end identity reinforcement. You want to really strengthen your relationships with anybody who's supported your business this year. This is key. People identify with the label you put on them. Again, this is human psychology. It's unavoidable, right? So we want to reinforce the behaviors that we want to encourage. You got somebody who always likes your posts on social media, send them a message. You're the person I can always count on to like my social media posts. Thank you. I appreciate you. You got someone who always is keeping you in mind and sending you referrals or sharing. I can always count on you for recommending me to your friends. I appreciate that so much, right? If you have someone, this also works interestingly for people that you want to do something. Every Thanksgiving, I send an email out to my database that says, I've got a family tradition of going around the table on Thanksgiving and saying what we're thankful for. And more than anything, I'm thankful for you and all the referrals that you've sent me this year. My business and my family would not be the same without your support. Guaranteed, every year, 4 to 5 people who sent me 0 referrals ever will reply back and say, "You're welcome. I'm always thinking about you and how I can support you." Right? It's always the people who have sent no referrals, but we will get those referrals over the next year because it's reinforcing for people who take the time to read it, this idea of I support Dan, right? Humans have a really interesting thing, which is that they have to help people. I should re-say it this way. When they help someone, they have to justify it in their head. This is called the Roosevelt effect. Now I'm giving you a bunch of different psychologies, but The Roosevelt effect is super interesting. What it says is when you ask someone to help you, they have to like you more because their brain won't allow them to help you unless it tells itself, I must like this person. Otherwise, why would I be helping them? Right? So this is a document you can Google the Roosevelt effect and see it's a real thing. If you ask someone to help, they will like you more than before you ask them for help. So we always think as real estate agents, we're all sort of hardwired to be the helpful person, right? If you have a question, I'm your guy. You need a plumber? I know somebody, right? You're not sure what your house is worth? I'm here to help you, right? You want a mortgage quote? Call Tom. Of course, I'm here. Turns out that flipping that makes us feel good. But if you want our clients to feel good, you need to flip it around, right? And so asking them, hey, what would mean the world to me is if I helped you at all this year, could you leave a review on my Google page, right? Hey, the best thing I could get, the best way you could help me is if you like this post. I do this a lot. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you will get a DM from me at some point where I will send you something that I just posted, and I will just say, Amy, I'd really appreciate it if you could like this, right? And most people will. And then what will happen is they will start liking more of your content because it's very hard to say, no, I'm not going to like your post, right? Stakes are low. And once you do, your brain plays a trick on you. It says, I must like Dan's content. Otherwise, why would I do this for him? Surely not just because he asked me. So that's called the Roosevelt effect. And you can really leverage that combined with that identity reinforcer that I just talked about. Let people know, hey, this is how you help me. And I appreciate it. Look, when you send me referrals, it means the world. I appreciate you always liking my posts on social media. I see that you read my emails, and it really gives me optimism, keeps me going, right? When you identify that way with people, they see themselves as the person who helped and supports you and refer you business, and they feel like I must really like that person even more because clearly I'm willing to keep doing that. So I want to leave a little time to open it up, but those are my December tips. That stuff is all gold. The idea is this. You don't need to do in December, you don't need to do any one of those. You don't need some tactical or complex plan, but keep a few of those in your back pocket. When you see the opportunity, when you're scrolling on Facebook, send the text, right? When you see that person and you go, you know what, they sent me a referral, thank them, right? Let them know that they're appreciated for being your referral partner. Because all of this stuff are things we could do right now, and it has a disproportionate impact in the month of December than it does any other time of the year, right? And so if you want to, business is a little slow, getting into the holidays, your schedule's getting more complex. This is easy stuff that's high impact that we can all be doing. All right. You guys have listened to me ramble for a long time. I hope it was helpful. I hope everyone got at least something out of that. But any other questions I could take before we wrap up?
I want to hear about that 72 touch.
All right, Joey, my guy. Yeah, I can pull that up. Well, actually, I don't even know. I got a presentation somewhere, but I'll run you through it. One
Meantime,
email a
if
week.
in the meantime too, if you guys want to throw in the chat any big takeaways you guys have, that'd be great.
Yeah. One email a week, Joey, that gets you to 52 right out the gate. I use 4 or 5 different templates, right? So nothing too complex. Um, Monthly market stats. Um, and actually, I'll give you guys some more resources on this. Tom, probably what I'll do is put a bunch of resources in an email. I've got a custom chat GPT that I created. You take your local market stats PDF, you drop it in, it'll write an email for you and create a bunch of social media content. But monthly market stats report, a real estate news article. So what I'll do is I'll go on Google News, I'll type in real estate, maybe local, sometimes national, look for a recent article that I like, drop that in ChatGPT and say, give me a quick summary of this article with the 3 takeaways buyers and sellers should have. I'll tweak that a little bit for myself and send out that simple email. Usually I'll do a vendor feature maybe every other month, right? here's my favorite plumbers, my local electricians, and if you need something, we've got uh, we've got that there. Sometimes I substitute in local restaurants. Um, so we got a handful of templates there. We just rotate through them on a regular basis. One email every week. That gets you to 52. 4 calls or texts, 1 per quarter. Again, using that system to work all the way through the database. And then monthly home valuation report, right? So I use HomeBot to automate that. A lot of different services. You can use, I think, Joey, you're a KW guy, so you've got the neighborhood nurture. You could throw everybody on there. Different people have different services for that. Quarterly calls or texts, and then 2 cards per year. I do a year end. I do a Happy New Year's. A lot of people do, Happy Holidays. So a physical card for that, and then a random holiday. This is my favorite one. I do Groundhog's Day because it is a holiday, but it's also not a real holiday, right? It's non-denominational. No one can be too upset about Groundhog's Day. And who sends the card on Groundhog's Day? I do, right? So it's very memorable. I've got agents who do National Espresso Day, National Dog Day. I've got an agent, she does out in California, she does National Yoga Day and gets a ton of great feedback from that. So something that's personal to you, right? So 2 physical pieces of mail a year that keeps your costs low and high impact. And then I do 2 video text messages per year. Send everyone a video text message on their birthday, and then I send everyone a video text message on their home anniversary, right? Nothing fancy. I hold up my phone like this and I go, "Hey, Joey, it's Dan. Just wanted to wish you a happy birthday. Hope you have a fantastic day. Glad I know you." And click send and send that out. Again, we did a lot of psychology today, but there's really good and interesting psychological research that says when someone watches a video where their name is mentioned, does not work if it's a generic video. But if I send you a video that says, "Hey, Joey," it lights up the same part of your brain as if we meet face to face. If I send you a generic happy birthday video, it doesn't work that way, right? But if I say your name in that video, it's just as good as if we meet. So I read that study and I said, well, if I could meet people on any 2 days, what days would I pick? Their birthday, obvious one, and their home anniversary, right? It's just a fun one. "Hey, Joey, can't believe it, but it's your 5-year home anniversary, right? Hope the home is still meeting your needs. If you need anything, I'm here. Congratulations," right? In which I'm subtly saying what? Like, got to wrap this thing up. Like, surely that house can't still be good for you. We got to be thinking about selling soon, right? Time to move on. So showing up in that way is really easy. Cost you nothing. Really fast to execute. Easy to put a system around. So that would be that's 70. Sum total of those get you to 72, right? 2 cards, 2 video texts, quarterly calls and texts, 52 emails, plus 12 home value reports. Once you get it set up, sounds like a lot. Once you get it set up, most of my agents can do that in less than 2 hours a week. It's not a big time commitment. Let's see. Danny put, "I've been a newly licensed agent for 8 months, no sales. Any advice gives to those with no momentum yet?" Yes, absolutely. Great question. Okay. Number 1, I would tell you is work your database. New agents are notorious for waiting way too long to start working their database. There's someone in your phone who will support you and help you get started. But once you got that covered, then the next thing I would say is to do Facebook Marketplace ads. Facebook Marketplace ads are one of the fastest ways to get free leads. It costs you nothing. It's scalable. You can post a lot of them. There's a number of different strategies you can use there. I'm going to drop in the chat I have a little webinar recording on that I'll put in there. But Facebook Marketplace ads is one of the strategies I teach and helps people get going. If you're completely new, that is a great strategy. So I'm going to give that to you if I can get my website to load here.
In the meantime, too, like whether you're new or been in the business for a while, what I've been doing and get some good success and is doing happy birthday on Facebook DMs. And not only that, they'll communicate back and forth with you a little bit. So then your information will show up on their feed when they're on Facebook. So I think that's a really good strategy. It only takes like 3 to 5 minutes a day.
Yeah, absolutely. So for Danny and for anybody else who wants it, I just dropped in the chat this Facebook Marketplace ads guide. So this is an older version, but you can watch this. It will walk you through what I call our hot list ad strategy. Anybody can do this in any market. There's a bunch of different strategies you can use. I will tell you, I cover one in here for bank-owned homes. This is probably the number one ad that agents in my coaching program run to generate buyer leads. They're geared towards investors, but if you're brand new and you just want to start having conversations about real estate and get some leads in, that's the one. So when you watch the video, it will show you exactly how to do that. And you can just copy and paste everything I've got in here. And that will get you going on Facebook Marketplace ads. I'm going to also tell you, if you go to my website, which I'm going to paste in here, I've got, let me screen share this so you can see. You can access, so I've got a couple things on my website here. This database marketing plan will walk you through the 72 touch database game plan. And our no-cost lead generation guide will be that Facebook Marketplace strategy I put in there. If you go through and download these, you got to put in your name and your email address. But both of them are being updated in January. The first week of January, both of these are getting a full refresh and they're much, much more in detail. So right now they're sort of short overviews. But over the past year, we've made so many changes and updates to those strategies that I'm going to be releasing them. So even if you use the link I just sent you, go in and put your name and your email in on one of those. You'll be in my database, and then when the updates get released in January, you'll get notifications. You guys can get the latest and greatest stuff. Awesome. All right. How did you do, Tom? Bring some value today?
Absolutely. I appreciate it. I even took some good takeaways here myself.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Well, you guys, you're friends of Tom's. So I appreciate that. It means you're a friend of mine. I'm going to put it all back in here again. My cell phone number, that is my very real personal cell phone number. I'm also going to put my email address. My website is linked there as well. And then on Instagram and Facebook, I'm very easy to find at Dan DeMott. You guys are all welcome to reach out any way I can be helpful. I will gladly do that. I always tell people this is a business for me, but if I hit the lottery tomorrow, I would do this for free. I absolutely love helping real estate agents. I talk to agents all the time. I will meet all of you for a one-on-one and a consultation. You can go on my website and book a 15-minute call, no charge, anytime you'd like. And so if I can ever be helpful in any way, don't hesitate to reach out. All right.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dan. Appreciate it. And I'll wrap some of this up into an email for everybody too. Once the recording is all uploaded.
Awesome. All right, guys. Have a great
Thanks, Dan.
great week and happy holidays.